Abusiafo native ahaya Alpha 1GH. What I share and I say, and no first time I so any di no book and so I then no one subscribe my 7 years by no she be a notification phone so na wa share fin so my so be share more than for so nye beautiful main and something. Deputy Attorney General in himself your ba na sisi no and I then about bontin about be expose beka Chief Justice Tukono just in seminar ka just expose na about LGBTQ plus no. In himself no understand na some judge me den serious demonstration as a protest being now no the year pa just say beka youth for ne arise Ghana for na den joining just no more the always protest against gays any lesbians just so Ghana ha any kwan say den so beka parliament speaker Mbamba be den omokwatena ase no oma process je wasenka akofa den sign nenzo so open say akodi court so in the supreme court chief justice na den rulings ahon nyina as say no beka deputy attorney general no ni se number 2 jana chese or say sa case no na court no nya de on meeting this year then waka the expose Kesi pa just a more rem because bram bring nyina no any equal demonstration any ekwakwaesi any ekwakwaesi nyina no deputy attorney general say yendi asem no ne indi asem ni china this akufa the free power because nya no medi asem this year da according to a deputy attorney general no now we know as some judge ka say ye mamo 14 days I was my timetable because Niema deputy ne can ya dey say more remipa because this now how say chief justice now I say utia futu the free deputy attorney general any confederal kasangasa mono any the main attorney general utie futu from ho enti Niema course what say akufara kwa the ensign and the judges or muni hu bi no
the deputy attorney general responding told them that the case will not be heard this year. Yes. The deputy attorney general, in the presence of the men of God there, the chairman of the Presby Church was there, the current chairman of GPCC, who is the head of the Church of Pentecost, Apostle Eric Nyamiche, was present. If I'm lying, they should come out and say I'm lying. They were in that meeting. The deputy attorney general looked them in the face and told them that this case will not be heard this year. So when the chief justice begins to act in the way she's acting, I have only one question. Does she work at the behest of the attorney general and the deputy attorney general, or does she work for the people of Ghana? Because you see, Randy, another case after this Richard Delaska and Amanda Odoy case went to the same Supreme Court. That one, you know, our bill is based on Section 104 of the Criminal Offences Act, a natural criminology, and we expand the scope of it in our bill. So what they then did was to get a lecturer from Legon, Richard O'Brien crime, to go again to the Supreme Court to challenge Section 104. So that if Section 104 is deemed unconstitutional, then our bill is even dead on arrival. Now that panel was headed by Justice Abdullahi Tanko, had Justice Yoni Kolendi on the bench. Randy, during the legal vacation, they heard the case and gave a judgment, issued a 59-page judgment. In fact, Justice Abdullahi Tanko gave his ruling. Justice Yoni Kolendi wrote a quorum judgment in agreement, where they struck it out and said that Ghana Supreme Court will not be peer pressured by foreign influences to accept homosexuality in any shape, form, or opinion, and that it is not welcome and will not be entertained by the court. This is the position of her brothers on the bench at the Supreme Court, Justice Abdullahi Tanko and Justice Yoni Kolendi. God bless them. We want to find out from the Chief Justice of Ghana, Madam Gertrude Tokono, does she disagree with her brothers on the bench? By virtue of the ruling of the same Supreme Court in the Richard O'Brien crime case, the Chief Justice has no business continuing with this case because it's the same case. Except she disagrees with her brothers. She has,
So what did your petition contain? What do you want her to do?
Simple. We gave her 14 days to give us a timetable.
14 days?
Yes, within 14 days, we want a timetable from the Supreme Court. They must give us, she herself, I didn't put a gun to her head. She herself said in court on the 17th of July that we will have an expedited trial. So, or expedited hearing of the case. She must give us the timetable for that expedited hearing, because 10 weeks on, I know the wheels of justice grind slow, but for them not to have moved an inch in 10 weeks, it means there's a cog in the wheel. And that cog currently is the person who has to give us a timetable, the Chief Justice. She must give us a timetable.
And you're saying that, although the judiciary is telling us that the delay, as far as the case is concerned, has to do with the parties in the case, not the bench. You disagree and give examples of why you disagree.
Yes.
So you believe that even if the parties were delaying in the matter, there is enough precedence to suggest that the CJ could still go ahead.
The election petition hearings, the Supreme Court gave a timetable, and lawyers had to keep to that timetable and do their fight. There were several times lawyers for the plaintiff, even had to beg the courts for an extra day to be able to file certain documents. The court said, no, we are sticking to our timetable. So the Chief Justice has the power. But Randy, we hold the considered view that the Chief Justice is acting under the influence of the statements made by the Deputy Attorney General, and she's seeking to please them. And that's why she's delaying the process.
So in 14 days,
if
you're asking for a timetable.
Yes. She should give us a timetable
which will
how
demonstrate an expedited hearing.
Yes, based on what she promised.
And if you don't, her position or the position of the judiciary has been made clear that look, the ball is not in our court; it's in the court of the parties in the matter, and they accuse both sides, both Parliament and the Attorney General, of not complying or not fulfilling their responsibilities as far as this thing is concerned. Now, if in 14 days you don't have what you're asking for, what will happen?
We'll take on the next step.
Which will be?
Randy,
you won't tell us?
No. Because we'll come there. Because you see, as soon as I mentioned that we're going to do this match, the Chief Justice started issuing press statements. In fact, the last press conference they did, they claimed that maybe on the 15th of this month, they are open to a hearing and all. We want a comprehensive timetable.
15th of this month is Wednesday.
Yes, we want a comprehensive timetable. They should stop responding to us.
Are you going to dictate to the judiciary how to go by their work?
No. We're not dictating. We're pointing out to the judiciary what appears to be apparent double standards in their actions. And we're asking the judiciary to absolve itself of the perception that they've become an appendage of the Attorney General's department. And that the Chief Justice is taking directions from the Deputy Attorney General. She must fight actively that perception. But if she continues in her line of action, she lends credence to the fact that today our CJ is taking directions from the Attorney General.
All right, okay. Let me bring Chine in. Chine, have you been following this matter?
Because I know he doesn't. I know Chine's preferences. I mean, he doesn't support homosexuality. So, my brother, thank you so much for. I mean, putting partisan politics aside and the future of our children. And you were part of 275.
Do you feel patronized?
Why are you saying all?
No, but you were part of the people.
Do you feel patronized?
Or you've changed your mind?
I'm George.
Chine, do you feel patronized?
Anyway, Randy.
Yes.
I mean,
Hof Chine.
So,
I'm calling you Hof Chine because that's what the shirt.
Oh, stop that! Stop being mischievous.
Hof Amidu.
All right, Chine, let's hear you. Ignore him.
So all of us, every citizen of Ghana, because today we are here because, I mean, our fathers and mothers got married. If my father had not married my mother, I don't think that I'll be here today. So in order to promote procreation, we have to promote men marrying women and nothing else. That is in accord with our traditions and our religious beliefs. I mean, I have said before that I have never come across anybody in my constituency, the constituency I represent in Parliament, in favor of homosexuality. And so I have no business supporting, homosexuality. So, like he said, I mean, I have been all out for supporting the bill to ensure that we promote our culture, our traditions, and our religious beliefs. Now, my only disagreement with him is the way he's taking on the Chief Justice and the judiciary. And that is becoming of the NDC, because when there is ruling at the court in their favor, they celebrate.
George ayɛden abaabɔ nti bɛka nsɛm no kan yɛde si mɔrem yi paa na yɛtie ɛyɛ nsɛm a ɔda bɛto dwa meeting bi ɔkɔɛ na deputy ɛyɛ attorney general yɛde ɛbaabɔ nti bɛ leak information a mehu sɛ saa LGBTQ plus na ɛkyɛ sɛ ɛno adasɛ no ɔmkɔyɛ saa demonstration no ɛnya adeɛ a ɔmbɛsɔlve saa case na ɔkɔɔs no ɛnɛ anaasɛ kyena de sɛ yi a wɔtwam ɔmo saa kan sɛ nye yɛ ɔmbɛsɔlve no once anyɛ specific say bia next year answer BBC ɔse ɛnyɛ yi a wia that means ɔnim yi akoro ɛno na ɛbɛka ɛbɛ deputy IGP no deputy attorney general na ayɛ ahyeki baabia na ama ɛyɛ court wa ahyie paa kyɛ sɛ ɛnyɛ asɛm ketewa Supreme Court o ɛna ɛsɛ ɔma wa ahyie ɔma Chief Justice ɛyɛ ɛhunu ama no Supreme Court paa kyɛ sɛ ɛnyɛ asɛm ketewa ɛne anim sɛ yɛto aba Bebiano across the world no say a trouble no mean 50% plus one. That means say nipa kona yɛden afa sa ɛyɛ abato no nanso so ɛyɛ percentage ɛwɔ Ghana ha some yɛden ɔmo support sa LGBTQ plus no ɛyɛ 98% of Ghanaians ɔmo support so nim de ndi a ɛyɛ akɔfa yɛden ɛtata nneɛma so ɛne Chief Justice yɛden ɔhide Chief Justice akyi the Chief Justice near my bonnet is the end say on one case Chief Justice no on one case him says animal any the on pay and when a MPP MP is on so friend Chinia honorable Chinia middle on so yeding or MPP MP is my party to demarcate and price or no ye on so deputy Rebecca sanitation or I just say also in some other to down so a speaker against a year LGBTQ because Sani man them pass over a year beka parliament into me speaking against a decision na Chief Justice and a deputy attorney general no any attorney general nankasa mo go for damino I just speaking against I just almost support sa near my bonnet no cause a Chief Justice no worry be more or bad. So what comes over for say on Ghanaians for any and one young koba na say oba and one young oba. So I could see that Ben you the camera compare the Alpha Bema and I was like camera compare for young camera Bema and I say okay because I found young or Bema. If you can point see that we need somebody so about point and make and answer to come could some George any a year MPP MP no. Or your banner then commission up in
a way that doesn't look favorable to them. And they find every reason to make the people look bad. And you see, in the democracy, the courts are there for all of us. And we can only continue to add value to what they do. But the way we add the value to what they do so that they become an excellent institution that promotes our democracy should be in such a way that we don't undermine them, we don't insult them, we don't antagonize them unnecessarily like Honorable Sam George is doing. I mean, it's full attack on the Chief Justice that I think is unfair because the registrar to the court, they have made a case that the plaintiffs in the case, which is Richard LļڼțTQ and Dr. Amanda, they are the plaintiff in this particular case, have not filed the necessary documentation. The defendant, which is Parliament and then the AG, have not also filed. So if you're a judge and the case is brought before you and the plaintiff doesn't file the required documents that he needs to prove before the court, the defendant does not do that. On what basis do you proceed? On what basis do you proceed? The one who has come to make a complaint before the court has not filed necessary documentation. The one who is supposed to defend or who is being accused in this case, Parliament, the Speaker, represented by Ṛëvëals, and then the AG, they have not filed their documents. So the court is limited to proceed. They can never proceed. And so, Sam George, who you have just told us here that you have done LLB, and you know that if the parties in a matter before a court don't put their case before the court can proceed. And in this case, the plaintiff, the defendants, have not put before the court the required documentation for the case to continue. So how is the Chief Justice or the Supreme Court supposed to proceed?
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
On basis of this. So there is something novel about this case. Mm-hmm. And what is novel about this case is that at the heart of this matter, apart from the issue of a constitutional interpretation, is also a rift between the executive and the legislature, and the issue of whether the executive can even prevent Parliament from doing its work, because that's a contention of Parliament, really. Now, there is an application for an injunction, or there's in fact an injunction on the executive. Now, the executive also relies on this particular matter, to justify why it is preventing Parliament from doing its work. Now, the Chief Justice decides that although the injunction was filed separately from the substantive matter, she will put the two together, because the injunction matter was before her. The injunction matter has been fully heard. All things have been filed. The arguments and everything has been made. And it was left for her to make a pronunciation on the matter. And she says that, because that would have then determined whether indeed the courts were going to allow for an injunction or otherwise. She says, no. Instead of giving you the decision on this one, I want to add it to the substantive matter. So she does that. Now, she says that the parties in the matter are the source of delay as far as the substantive matter is concerned. So, on the basis of that, the injunction is pending. And she decided she could have given the decision on the panel could have given the decision on the injunction because it was separate. But it was her decision to put the two together. Now, we're saying that this thing is stalling. And you now have this tango between the executive and the legislature. Are we saying that at this stage, the court can be stopped or dissuaded from going ahead to do its job because the parties in the matter have decided that they will not show the kind of interest that they should show on the issue?
Well, Randy, I think that in the case of the injunction, I have a personal opinion. And my personal opinion is that I don't think that it was out of place if the presidency had even accepted the transmission of the bill from Parliament and then write to Parliament that because of the substantive case pending before the court, we'll wait to see the outcome before the president can act. So the presidency could have accepted the bill, which would have not been necessary for the injunction to be in the court in the first place, because a parliament is aware of a matter in court and decides to proceed to pass a legislation, and then it goes to the president, and the president has issue with the matter being pending in a court, then the president could just write to Parliament that, yes, I have received the
abusuafo na eti for any information but to na so say me eti for pemasem no ye mam tisa news record say nya asem to concern about the deputy attorney general just him so oba nim the phone no hiding but boldly no about bontia be expose a year beka a year Chief Justice any Attorney General and Kasankasemu a year beka se call to say meeting yes according to some Georgia or say baby amakushia na a year named for anyone may judge for United will be as or made or mutin semi deputy Attorney General a canon wakase on one pim and what can say a yan sa a case in a LGBTQ plus no case na just no quest demonstration almost solving this year. Just say dim say omo akufada ko hide on me no me sa abone dey ni obi ani. Right now as speaking no Chief Justice no adding it's a photo from a Becca Attorney General any Deputy Attorney General because Chief Justice there enka wo higher position than a Attorney General so then after there this a Deputy Attorney General na say Attorney General nka say mo e fe no government kasa e na wo beti dia adwuma ekosi wan enfa inim say Ghana na so ko all over the country now in adiwe pa just say oko eye ebeka book mo ne ade a omotaka say separation of powers you was a check and balance so separation of powers no the three arms of government now the judiciary the executive and the legislature that's how checks and balance na can one no and no be as say fan say ada the arms of government on be able to check say obi any nyuma any friend checks and balances on so we need the nti have the legislature for better judiciary the omonye judiciary better we must the omonye obi any adwuma or separation of powers so right now the enim the aba Chief Justice to ama Deputy Attorney General no and I say Attorney General na ngase mo na the che ne onye there is in Chakwem sa LGBTQ plus no and Ghana for some percentage near saying 98% of a Ghanaian some year or much sad no Muslims for a Becca a year almost some traditionalists for any Becca or almost a quasor near them or munia empezade because a kind near may see or Bible ma Sodom and Gomorrah no a dear son near my tanta and tiny way at the end of point each intina the oma from why the anges anymore. Sansem nyina no yebeka Sam George ababo ntin abecheche ni ma me atase ebi antanse mini ntima ka beti no adwenkyina de akọ comment such beti so ahia mo adamfo so anya bi ahwe I have 1G Akroma